Yeah, good morning, one and all. I am explaining about the modern slavery and human trafficking, a hidden global crisis. Image image waking up every day not knowing that you will be beaten, moved to another country, forced to work without pay. Unfortunately, this is the reality of 50 million people around the world today. This isn't an history. This is a modern slavery and human trafficking. Today, I want to share a light on this invisible crisis, which you should understand how it affects all of us and why it demands the urgent global attention. First, I need to explain about modern slavery includes forced labor, debt bondage, forced marriage, and human trafficking. It exists in nearly every country, including our own. According to the International Labour Organization, there are 28 million people are in forced labor, 22 million people are in forced marriages, most victims of women and children. Women trafficking generates over 1 lakh, 150 million illegal profit annually. That more than profit a big tech companies combined. Victims of these factories forms a constitution, sites, thousand households, and even if they fishing boats, often with no pay, no freedom, and no way out. And why is this happening? The several factors it creates the perfect conditions are poverty and lack of education, make people variable and false job promises, war and displacement force people through free, making them easy target for traffickers. And the main results are gender equality, gender inequality, and plays a major role, especially in sexual harassment and the forced marriages. This may crisis victims in this may crisis victims are leagued with the hope of the better life, only find out themselves trapped. Let's take a real world examples. In Bangladesh, young girls are trafficked into nearby countries under the guises of domestic work. Once they are forced to sex work or modern domestic slavery. In Libya, migrants of Africa are sold in slave actions. Some of them are $4,400. These peoples are just trying to reach Europe. And so what being done? Organizations like United States Anti-Slavery Internationals and International Justice Missions are fighting this battle. This rescues the victims, push for better laws and educate commodities. Many countries have been passed anti-trafficking laws, but enforced these weak and victims are often criminalized rather than the protected. Corrupted, lack of international corruptions, and limited victims support continue by the major barriers. In slunking, forced labor are existed by supply chains of many everyday products, chocolates, coffees, fast functions, and electronics. Let's talk about the scope of the problem, how it should be solved. Modern slavery is an umbrella term that includes forced labor, people who made work under the threat or concern, debt bondage, the people who trapped for jobs to repay debts, often for life, forced marriage, individuals, often girls forced by the mate marry against their will, human trafficking, the recruitment of the movement of people through uh, disruption and forced by the exploitation. And slot means in ILO 2022 the report came 28 million forced labor, 22 million of forced marriages, 70% of the victims of women and girls are trafficking, and 1 by 4th of the victims are as in child. Money in exploitation. The global human trafficking industries earn more than 150 billion per year, which is surpassing the profit of the company of like Amazon and Google. These victims are often like work in terrible conditions without freedom, basic needs or rights and pay. The causes and why it is happen. Modern slavery thrives. There is a people dispute and valuable. But poverty forces people to accept the risk. Job offer, lack of education leaves the people unaware of their rights. War and conflicts dispute millions, rape targets and traffickings, gender inequalities, uh, gender inequalities, where make a woman more, especially for sexual exploitation and forced marriages. The like before I have given the real world examples like Bangladesh, Libya, and in supply chains there is slavery isn't far away. It often embraced in the production of the chocolate, coffee, fast fashion, electronics. For example, chocolate. Child labor is in West Africa. West Africa like is a very poverty country, and coffee forced labor in Latin American. Fast fashion like sweatshops in South Asia countries, and electronics mining under forced by the labor in Africa. Global responses what should be being done, and organization facing back as United Nations, UNODC, the main target to reduce this anti-slavery in international justice mission IJM. And what are the laws and challenges? The many countries having the anti-trafficking laws where Trafficking Victims Protection Act, but enforce this is weak. Corruption is often more protects traffickers. Victims are criticized for imag- immigration violations of for sexual work instead of being helped. Let's come to the conclusion part. And conclusion and the call to action. What can we do to better? We are not a powerful, hence we are, and everyone can help. Small amount of, but ethical. Use website like Good on You and Slavery Footprint to check brands. Speak up. Share what you learn with others. Awareness slaves lives. Sorry. Support NGOs. Donate and voluntary to with organization who are fighting trafficking. Know the sign. Learn how to spot and report trafficking in your commodity. For example, people with no freedom of movement, signs or abuses, etc. Like people who are in problem, they can make a symbol like this. And final message: awareness is being of change. You can be the voice for the violences. And thank you. My name is Venugopal. My roll number is 21 MFTF 21, Cristudenty College. Thank you.